Hi guys, good day. My name is Jeremy Yangorin and my assigned topic is for verb phrases. And also the basic structure of verb phrases. So first is we'll go down to our objectives, and these are to define what is verb phrase, then to identify the different kind of verb phrase as well as kinds of phrase, and the last one is to be able to distinguish the verb phrase in the sentence. Alright, so we'll go first to all the quick tips. So every verb phrase contain a verb, for example, laughs or left. Then a verb phrase can also consist of a verb plus a noun phrase, for example, chase the ball. A verb phrase can also consist of a linking verb plus an adjective, for example, is tall. So a verb phrase can also consist of a verb plus a prepositional phrase, for example, drove to the mall. And last is that a verb phrase can consist of verb plus a noun phrase plus a prepositional phrase, or for example, drove her friend to the mall. So before we dig deeper to that examples or tips, let's go down first to what is verb phrases. So first we'll give some short definition of the verb. So verbs are words that demonstrate an action such as sing, dance, smell, talk, and eat. So when combined with linking verbs such as is, must, will, and has, they form verb phrases. So verb phrases can consist of 1 to 3 linking verbs and action verbs, and sometimes any complements such as objects or direct objects. So a verb phrase can be the predicate of the clause or sentence, and it functions as the verb in a sentence even when it has more than one word. So we have here the kind of verb phrases. So first is that verb and verb plus adjective, verb plus noun phrase, then verb plus prepositional phrase, and lastly we have the verb plus noun phrase plus preposition phrase. So first is we go to the very first topic or structure of verb phrases, which is the verb. So in this basic structure, a main verb is what a verb phrase consists of. So the verb can be in a present tense, or it can be example are or like, or the past tense saw or laughed. So mostly in this verb phrases that uses verb only, they are mostly into past tense of a specific word. For example, number 1, Freddy disappeared. So the verb phrase there, the verb phrase there is disappeared. So when you say this disappeared, it can be a verb phrase since that is a past tense of a specific sentence. Then another second one is we have here a young woman cried. So a young woman cried, the verb here, so the very verb here is cried. So let's move on to the next structure, which is the verb plus adjective. So we all know that adjective is some type of sentence that describes a subject or a noun. So in here, the verb plus adjective mainly consists of linking verb plus adjective, and it cannot be an action verb because an adjective cannot be followed by just an action verb. So for example, here we have the first example, the argument was silly. So we can see in here that the word silly is the one that describes the argument. So the linking verb or the verb that is in the sentence, which is was, is like, for example, you cannot make such a adjective or verb phrase without a linking verb. So if we say here was silly, then that is a verb phrase that has an adjective. So the silly is the one that describes the argument. So the second one is the dress felt comfortable. So the word or the underlined word here must be felt comfortable. Then let's move on to the second example, which is for the verb and noun phrase. So before we tackle to the verb and plus noun phrase, let me give you a small heads up on what is noun phrase. So a noun phrase is a group of words headed by a noun that includes modifier. So in this graph, or I mean picture that I'm showing you right now. So we have here an example, the man. So man is the head noun, and we have here the, which is a modifier. So a noun phrase cannot be a noun phrase without a modifier. Another one is a girl, which is the modifier, and girl is the noun. So let's move on to that. Okay, so we have here the verb plus noun phrase. So verb plus noun phrase is somewhat similar to noun phrase, but the format will be like this, like verb plus determiner plus noun or modifier. So here on the examples number 1, so first is that he created a monster. So verb there is created, then a modifier or a determiner there is a, then the noun or the head noun there is monster. So if we underline the verb phrase there in the sentence, then we will underline the created a monster. So the second one is Frank broke the plate, which broke is the verb, and that is the determiner or modifier, and plate is the noun. So let's move on with that, and we will go down now to the verb plus prepositional phrase. So first, I'm going to tackle about the, I'll give you just a heads up about the prepositional phrase. Okay, so prepositional phrase is a group of words that consist of a preposition, the object of the preposition, and any modifiers. Okay, so we have here example, from the brass lamp. So the preposition there is from, and the modifiers there is the brass, then the object of the preposition is lamp. So we'll just move on to the main topic, verb plus prepositional phrase. So floated on the water must be under the underlined phrase for that, because floated is the verb, on is the preposition, and the is the modifier, and water is the object of preposition. And just as the same as the examples number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. So we'll move on to that. And the last topic for this verb phrases is verb plus noun phrase plus preposition phrase. So these sentences shows us that when a verb is followed by a noun phrase and a prepositional phrase, the noun phrase always has to be before the prepositional phrase. So for the first example, I have here, I called my wife during intermission. So the what we must remember always is that verb cannot be, or verb must be on the first part of the sentence or verb phrase. So here in example number 1, called is the verb, my wife is a noun phrase, and during intermission is the preposition phrase. So we will underline here, they called my wife during intermission. So on next examples, we have here Jack and Martha bought a wedding gift at Macy's. So Our verb here is bought, and our noun phrase is a wedding, and then preposition phrase is at Macy's. So we will underline the bought at wedding gift at Macy's. And the last example is her housekeeper rinsed those clothes in warm water. So the verb here is rinsed, and those clothes is the noun phrase, and in warm water is the preposition phrase. So that is all about the verb phrase and the basic structure of the verb phrases. Thank you so much for listening.